Hello, I'm the ASMR psychologist. Welcome to my channel. Now, today in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about the 4 elements of ASMR that you can use to supercharge or intensify your experience. Okay, so for the best ASMR experience, you need the right trigger, delivered by the right person, in the right environment, at the right time. So this gives you the clue, I suppose, or a clue that it's a very individual experience. So to get the best ASMR experience, you're going to have to do a little bit of trial and error, but it's definitely worth it because there are a lot of health benefits over and above relaxation. If you'd like to know a little bit more about these health benefits, you can watch my video here. It should pop up on the screen. Okay, so let's talk about those 4 elements. Let's begin with environment. First of all, our internal environment. That's a bit of a psychology term, but basically I mean don't put yourself under pressure to experience ASMR. Don't make ASMR the goal. Make the goal the journey. Enjoy the relaxation, the discovery. Take your time with it, and this will open your mind and body up to the experience. Okay, so external environment. Now, there's only been a handful of studies on ASMR, but one study in 2015 found that 52% of participants reported that they needed very specific environmental factors to be in place in order for them to experience ASMR. So, like we said before, it's very individual. However, there was a general consensus that the environment needs to be clean and quiet and relaxed. Now, I'm probably going to do a separate video on this, but I don't know if you've heard of something called Hygge. It's I hope I'm pronouncing that right, it's a Danish and Norwegian word for a mood of coziness with feelings of well-being and contentment. So it might be worth Googling that. You spell it Hygge, and having a look at some of the images that come up, because this, I think, might be something to aim for when kind of creating your ideal ASMR environment. Some other things to think about where environment is concerned. There was another study in 2017 that showed that music can actually inhibit a very strong ASMR. So it's worth removing all other distractions, particularly music. Temperature is also important. Make sure you're comfortable. If you're too hot or too cold, your mind is going to be distracted, your mind and body distracted by trying to normalise your temperature. So that's going to be important. The other thing you can do to intensify your experience is listen to videos through earphones. Now, what this does is it delivers the stimuli directly to the ears and makes a more, I suppose, intimate experience, which links back to maybe early functions that ASMR served between very small babies and their caregivers. So maybe that's something to try as well. Okay, so next, timing. So again, that 2015 study that I referred to earlier, in that 81% of participants described their favourite time to listen to ASMR as being bedtime. And this kind of makes sense if you think about it. It's ideal, the environment is safe and comfortable, and also your mind is kind of ready to drift off into that relaxing sleep state. The other benefit of listening to ASMR videos at this time just before bed is ASMR itself triggers melatonin, which is the brain chemical which is responsible for the initiation of sleep and also the quality of your sleep. Another good time to listen to ASMR is between about 2 and 4 in the afternoon. And as part of our natural sleep cycle, melatonin, that brain chemical, is released around this time. You might notice that this is a time where you often feel a bit sleepy anyway. So your mind is primed for ASMR between 2 and 4. And the advantage of listening to ASMR videos at this time is ASMR also releases a brain chemical called dopamine, which stimulates motivation and focus. So it's probably quite a good thing to have around that time. In talking about timing, maybe it's worth just touching on frequency, because it is actually possible to watch too much ASMR and develop something that some people call ASMR immunity. So your kind of ability to experience ASMR decreases. And this is due to the overstimulation of the receptors in the brain. So they're overstimulated by all the chemicals that are released during ASMR. So there's a number of chemicals that are released. We've already talked about melatonin and dopamine, but also oxytocin and serotonin. So if you're watching lots of ASMR videos, you've got more of these chemicals flooding your body, and your receptors will become overstimulated and kind of shut down. So if this happens to you, you just need to take a little break. For me, a day is enough to allow those receptors to kind of reset themselves. Now I've done a video going into a little more detail about ASMR immunity. If you're interested, you can watch the video. It should pop up here on the screen. Okay, so triggers. This is an interesting one, probably because it is just so individual. But for me, what's interesting is triggers really link back to our early experiences with our primary caregivers, which are usually our parents, and also specifically to our kind of very first experiences of ASMR, which are usually in childhood. So that's something always to bear in mind when you're listening to these types of videos, particularly if you're having not such a good experience listening to a video. It may be triggering something uncomfortable from your past that you might benefit from looking at and resolving. But let's look in detail at the triggers. So speaking, obviously, is an important trigger. So how someone speaks is important. People can speak like me. It's called soft spoken, or take it a step further and actually whisper. Sometimes that works better for some people. Tone is important. The tone needs to be gentle and kind and comforting. The pace is usually slow, even, considered, thoughtful. And of course, again, this is all linking back to our early experiences of being cared for. Pitch is important too, and this is quite interesting because it's different for different people. Some people find a higher pitch, a female voice, which is often perceived as less threatening, more triggering. Others find a lower pitch, a male voice, which indicates confidence and authority, more triggering. Okay, so particular words. This is interesting. I'm going to read from this book. I don't know if you've seen this book. It's called Brain Tingles, and it's by Craig Richard. And he, a little bit about him here. Maybe I'll read that to you. He launched the ASMR University in 2014 to encourage and report about ASMR research. And he's a professor in biopharmaceutical sciences in Virginia. It's quite an interesting book. Lots of tips in here about ASMR and how to get the most out of your experience. But I've just marked a page here because he talks about particular words that are quite triggering. He says it's particular consonants that are important. He lists D, P, T, B, L, C, and then combinations ch, k, qu, x, and st. I'll read you some of the words that he lists as well. Angelic, artist, ask, blend, bliss, bubble, castle, checkers, chocolate, coconut, cotton candy, crisps, didactic, glow, highlight, kiss, lipstick, lollipop, milk, package, popcorn, purple, relax, scratches, settle, silk, skeptical, sleepy, spectacle, stipple, sweatpants, tap, technical, tentacle, tickle, dingles, whisper, and zest. Okay. So, those are triggering words. You might have noticed some stood out for you. Tap is quite an important one for me. The P, I think, in words is quite triggering for me. Okay, so let's think about the format of the spoken word. There's lots of variations here. Some people find an inaudible whisper, so you can't even hear what somebody is saying. Very powerful. Rambles are very triggering. Reading, role plays, tutorials. That's another one of my favourites. And this is all, again, very individual and depends on your early experiences and your particular interests as well. Sounds. So these are very triggering as well. Where to start? I mean, there's so many things, and this is quite a nice thing to explore. So tapping, crinkling, stroking, rubbing, mouth sounds, popping, crackles. There's so much. So yeah, trial and error again, I think, here. Now, In terms of the location of the sound, there's some variation here. It can be just in front of you. My videos tend to be just delivered frontwards, ear to ear. That's a popular method of delivery, and also behind the head too. Okay. Touch, important trigger there. So here we're thinking about, things like haircuts, hair play, shoe fitting. That is a very common early memory of ASMR, having your shoes fitted, and just sort of gentle touch is very triggering. And I think this links to the fact that being touched gently is really important for our health and well-being. Parents are encouraged when they have a small baby to have lots of skin-to-skin contact with their baby, because it triggers oxytocin and endorphins, which calm the baby. They are also very good for relieving pain, but important in bonding. So gentle touch is really important for human beings, and you don't actually have to be physically touched in order for ASMR to occur. Observing touch, imagining it or anticipating it can be very triggering. And I think it's possible to supercharge your ASMR experience when you're watching a video, to have somebody maybe play with your hair, or stroke your wrist, brush your hair, something like that. Something you can try. And then finally, the person who delivers the trigger. Again, very individual. It'll be very linked to your early experiences. It'll be somebody who reminds you either the way they look or the way they sound or their mannerisms. It will link to something in your early childhood experiences. So again, there's lots of opportunity to explore here. There's a lot of ASMR practitioners out there to try. And also pay attention if you're having a less than positive experience, because again, as I've said before, this is an indication that it's triggering a memory from your past of something that's been quite unsettling for you. I think that ASMR triggers very strong reactions in people. Some of the research has shown an increase in skin conductivity, which is an indication of emotional arousal. So we can feel very positive, but we can also feel quite negative. And I think it's important to use that, not take it at face value. It's not the person who's made the ASMR video that is responsible for your bad feeling. It's just triggered something from your past that it would probably be really beneficial to look at, because this won't just be intruding on you when you're watching that video. It'll be happening at other points in your life. Okay, so that's the end of the video for today. I hope that it was interesting and also enjoyable to listen to. If you like this type of video, these kind of ASMR information videos, let me know by giving the video an up thumb. And if you'd like to support this channel and enable me to make more videos, of course, consider subscribing and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything good. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you very soon. Bye bye.